Joe Namath is many different things to different people. For the last 4 years, he has been known to most as the unpredictable quarterback of the New York Jets. In 1968, Joe's good days far outnumbered his bad. With Coach Weeb Ewbank's steady guidance, Broadway Joe passed the Jets to 11 victories and the Eastern title of the American Football League.
He's a hero, he's a pro, he's a Mr. Something Else on Broadway Joe. He's a groovy super guy, he can pass a football through one needle's eye. What a feeling, what a sight, when we see that number 12 in green and white. 1, 2, 3, hip, go, go, go! No one else can score like Broadway Joe!
As a new idol emerged in New York, an old one was fading in Baltimore. For 11 years, John Unitas had been the quarterback of the Baltimore Colts. He had carried them to 2 championships, and his fluid grace on the football field was all the color he had ever needed to make himself a hero. But last season, with a sore throwing arm, he could do little and was reduced to a bench warmer. Instead of Unitas, the man leading the Colts was Earl Morrall, a gypsy quarterback who had worked without distinction for 4 other teams before coming to Baltimore. But for the Colts, Morrall summoned up all his powers. He summoned up the skills everyone thought he had forgotten. He acquired those he seemed never to have had. With the help of his powerful receivers, he put everything together to become the most valuable player in the National Football League. Morrall's accurate passing put points on the scoreboard, and that is all Coach Don Shula needed, because nobody scored much against the Colts. They battered every opponent into complete submission with a defense that tied the all-time league record for the fewest points allowed in a season. The Colts lost only 1 game and were the overwhelming champions of the National Football League's Western Conference. On December 29th at New York Shea Stadium, Joe Namath riddled the Oakland Raiders with 3 touchdown passes and led the Jets to a surprising victory and the championship of the American Football League.
Right now, Baltimore is leading in the NFL.
Come on, killer, get him, baby! Sack it to him, Rabbit! Sack it to him! Put the heat on in! Break him in half! Kill him! Fumble, fumble! Go get it, Earl! Take him in, baby! Take him home, Earl! Kick one off! Dig it out, Willie! Dig it out! Dig it out, baby! Let's go, Rabbit in! Let's go! He's in there! Touchdown! I just dove over it. It was the biggest hole you ever seen.
Baltimore's victory over Cleveland in the NFL championship was so impressive that all the men of football were convinced that the mighty Colts would win easily against the young Jets in Miami's Super Bowl. But a relaxed and confident Joe Namath made it clear that in his mind, there was no doubt that the Jets would win. "We're a better team than Baltimore," he said. "We'll win the Super Bowl, I guarantee it." For the Jets, for the Colts, and certainly for millions of football fans, the worth of Broadway Joe's statements could only be measured on the field of action. Baltimore's defense started the championship game as if they would settle the issue very quickly. They hammered down the New York runners and boxed in Namath's receivers. After 3 minutes of this treatment, the Jets relinquished the ball to Baltimore's offense. On his first call, Earl Morrall threw to John Mackey, who batted the Jets with a 19-yard run. Morrall then turned to his ground game. Tom Matte, number 41, and Jerry Hill, number 45, powered the Colts past midfield. Once in New York territory, Morrall returned to his passing attack and connected with Tom Mitchell on the New York 19-yard line. But there Morrall threw 2 incompletions. And on 3rd down, he was pressured out of his passing pocket and was forced to run for no gain. Baltimore wasted its first scoring opportunity when Lou Michaels missed a field goal from the 27. On the final play of the first period, Lenny Lyles, number 43, gave Baltimore a second chance when he knocked the ball from George Sauer, and the Colts recovered on the Jets' 12. The first quarter belonged to the Colts, but in the second quarter, with Baltimore pressing for a score, the feeling of the game changed suddenly. It changed on the one accomplishment which most often reverses the trend in a football game: the denial of a sure touchdown. From the Jet 6, Morrall passed to Tom Mitchell. The ball caromed off Mitchell's shoulder pads and into the hands of New York's Randy Beverly. For the second time, the Colts squandered a scoring chance, but even more significant, they lost control of the game. Joe Namath used Beverly's interception as the springboard for a brilliantly executed 80-yard touchdown drive. On 3 successive running plays, Namath sent Matt Snell into the spongy right side of the Colt defense. With Baltimore properly concerned with the Jet running attack, Namath went to the air. He first threw to Bill Mathis on an outlet pass for 6 yards. He then connected with split-end George Sauer twice, once for 14 yards, and again for 11. Namath's 4th completion, a flare into Snell, moved the Jets to the Colts' 9. From there, Namath went back to the run, and Snell carried twice, scoring the second time from 4 yards out over the sagging right side of the Colt line. The touchdown was vital to the Jets, for it proved that they could move the ball against a powerful Colt defense. With a 7-0 lead, the job now fell to New York's defense. Throughout the second quarter, the talented Colts constantly threatened to score, but never did. They moved the ball handily, but each time they arrived at the gates of the end zone, the Jets produced a drive-stopping effort.
Oh, come on. You dirty Colt. You dirty guy.
With Baltimore threatening on New York's 15, Johnny Sample intercepted a pass by Earl Morrall. It marked the third time the Jets turned back the Colts inside the 20-yard line. With 25 seconds left in the half, the Colts again penetrated Jet territory. This time, Morrall called for a bit of razzle-dazzle that he had used successfully earlier in the season. 4 months before against the Atlanta Falcons, the play resulted in a touchdown pass from Morrall to flanker Jimmy Orr. Against the Jets, it began successfully, but Morrall's pass to fullback Jerry Hill fell short and was intercepted by Jim Hudson. The real tragedy of the play, however, was the fact that Jimmy Orr, the primary receiver, was standing all alone within easy reach of the end zone. Morrall did not see him and threw instead down the middle, where Hudson intercepted. The first half ended with the Jets ahead 7-0, and Baltimore's precision and power, so evident on the icy turf of Cleveland's Municipal Stadium, seemed to be melting away under the warm Florida sun.
Let's get on the board, baby. Let's get on the board.
On the first play of the second half, Tom Matte fumbled. The Jets recovered, and Jim Turner kicked a field goal to make it 10-0. From then on, the third quarter belonged to New York. Joe Namath manipulated the offense so well that the Jets had possession of the ball for all but 3 minutes of the period. Namath called about half the plays at the line of scrimmage and read Baltimore's shifting defense like an old pro. Namath's quick arm nullified Baltimore's fearsome blitz, and his accurate passes to George Sauer, number 83, consistently punctured the Colts' pass defense. Between passes, Namath continued to punch at the weak right side of the Colt defense with his running backs for small but important gains. The third quarter was dying, and so were the Colts. The Jets' margin was small, but definite. Joe Namath was enjoying one of his finest days. Earl Morrall was not. Late in the period, Jim Turner kicked a field goal to give New York a 13-point lead.
We get another score, though. We need another score. Can't let him get the big return. All right, Tank, let him get us through there. I would have got you in the middle, Tank, but I wanted to go with that 37, see?
It doesn't matter.
That's what I know, but I would have, you know. If it had been the game thing, I might have went that way.
A game that was supposed to be a laugh-in for the Colts was now a grim battle for survival. At this point, Don Shula replaced Errol Morrill with a man whose reputation was built fighting and winning such battles. With John Unitas, rested Baltimore's only hope of victory. At the beginning of the fourth period, Jim Turner kicked his third field goal to increase New York's lead. The Colts were 16 points behind in the last period. Similar odds had been conquered before with John Unitas at quarterback. But now, with his famous passing arm no more than a tattered memory, he could offer only a fighting heart and a will to win. Inspired by the presence of their old champion, the Colts finally did what they were supposed to do, did what they were capable of. But when Baltimore reached the New York 25, Unitas was betrayed by his ailing arm. His pass intended for Jimmy Orr was underthrown, and Randy Beverly made a juggling interception. For the Colts, it was a frustrating culmination to a good drive. But it confirmed the fact that with Unitas at quarterback, sore arm or not, they recaptured the fire and determination that had been their trademark. Unruffled by the appearance of the old master, Joe Namath marshaled his team on a carefully considered, time-consuming march that carried the Jets into Colt territory. The march stalled at the Colt 35. But with the Jets ahead by 16 points, young Joe Namath was only 7 minutes away from being pro football's championship quarterback. But in those final 7 minutes, Broadway Joe learned that there is still a place for a proud old man in a young man's game. Across the darkening field of the Orange Bowl, John Unitas ignored his aching arm and pushed the Baltimore Colts to their first score. Nine points behind, the Colts gambled on an onside kick. and won possession on the New York 44. With only 3 minutes to play, all the hopes and dreams of an entire season rested on the shoulders of one man, one old pro. One last moment for the master. Two champions on a Sunday afternoon. A new one as a quarterback. An old one as a man.